Today, we're talking about why you don't need more coping tools, and too much of these coping tools, you can't self regulate away. Okay, your stress is probably the reason why you're still anxious, you still feel overwhelmed, or you might be experiencing fatigue or other unexplained physical symptoms. And I will share with you just three insights of what you need instead. As you know, we are inundated with information on self care, more tools. Of course, you need to take care of yourself, but check this out, right? The industry is banking lots and lots of money, okay? And so many people are using it. You see some of the data here as far as like this is at least in United States, 2023. Physical activity, of course, that is essential. In research on mental health, I think top one is that what would help you improve your mood is movement. But these are money that people have paid as far as like physical activity. So maybe the gym, and then spas, wellness, real estate, all of that stuff. So the point of that is if we're spending so much money here in the United States, you would think that we will be healthier and happier. So the question that I want to ask is if we're all doing these self-care and we are having this ways, different tools to care for ourselves, why are we still anxious and depressed? Are you as curious as I am? So, is it possible that we're solving the wrong problem? Okay, so we're talking about that today. The first one, let's talk about the difference between stress management and nervous system regulation. There's this buzzword that we're all hearing in social media as if nervous system is something imaginary. It's just your body, it's your nervous system. Actually, as a somatic psychotherapist, it's my job to understand the body. Okay. So when we say nervous system, the central nervous system is actually your brain and your spinal cord. So there's other part or the other part of the nervous system is the peripheral nerves. So if you imagine the spinal cord, there are nerves. These nerves are embracing all of your organs. There's lots and lots of them from the top of your head all the way to the soles of your feet. So let me tell you a quick story, okay? Why there's a difference when I had this knee issue maybe 3 years ago, and so my knee was hurting. I added like a brace just when I'm walking, and then I noticed because I've been doing that for a few days, my toes started hurting, and then the soles of my feet. So then I bought from Amazon some of these kind of pad because I'm thinking I'm flat-footed, so I probably need support. But so I went to the podiatrist, right? Because foot doctor. So when I went to the podiatrist, I told the podiatrist that it actually started on my knee and then it just trickled down to my feet. And the podiatrist said, well, I'm not gonna look at your knees because I'm a podiatrist. That's all I do. And I found that really odd because it started on my knee and she didn't even want to talk about the knee, but they're all connected. So what happened was she recommended the podiatrist that I get fitted on this shoe. It was like $600. And she said, if that doesn't work, come back and maybe we'll talk about surgery. My jaw just dropped. So I went to another practitioner, a more holistic practitioner. They did X-ray, they did all these types of things, and the doctor pointed out that there was something in my uh, vertebrae. So it's particularly my L3 and L4. It's kind of like the lumbar part of my back that is kind of rubbing with each other. So that was causing the nerves, and the nerves are connected to the back, to the knees, and everything else is connected. So the point is this: stress management is like me just wearing the shoe. I'm managing the pain, but I actually am not solving the real issue. Most of the time, there is a nervous system issue. Whether you acquire that from something physical, like a physical injury, or something, mostly my focus as a psychotherapist is more emotional. How do I know the difference? Sometimes they all are because they're so connected. The knee and the feet are connected. Most of the time I don't worry about it, but I'm not a doctor. So I do want people to check in with their doctor. People I see are people who've had issues with chronic headaches, chronic fatigue. Something is off where they even get a diagnosis from their doctor, but the doctor does not really know where it came from. They're like, who knows, just stay away from stress, eat well and don't get and it's something like an inflammation in your body, so it's just a way to kind of not explain what cannot be completely explained. But in my work, there's some dysregulation in the nervous system, and it's likely caused by some type of event. Separate the physical, but as you know, if you've been depressed, just using that, depressed for a long time, you have not been out, you have not seen the sun very much, you're not eating well, that would affect your physical, right? So the emotional affects the physical, and the physical could affect the emotional. If you injured yourself and the healing has been slow, and now you have not been able to hang out with friends, do your usual routine, you're not able to do projects that you love, that you're passionate about. Now, you might experience some emotional issues there, whether it's chronic, it's prolonged. Every person is different. So, here's the thing, this is what's important for you to understand is that looking for coping tools. Of course, when people see me, I provide some coping tools, but you don't need to be so busy about that. It's like busy work when you're trying to really find the issue of why you need all those coping tools, lots of them anyway, right? So I would hate to waste people's time, and I'm just giving them, okay, take a deep breath, like, but what is the true issue? Of course, you also learn that. So one, of course, self-care is important. Having some coping tools is important, but being very busy about just coping is not probably the life that you want to live. So, stress manager without understanding the issue. Why did I have the knee issue? Anyway, it was something in my L3 and L4, somewhere there, my L1 to L5. Something was off. And the treatment was there, not specifically on my knee, because that was the root of my issue. So I'm sharing this because simply busy managing stress, you'll get into this never-ending cycle. It's almost like a weed. You cut the weed from the top, it looks nice, and then there it goes again after 2 days. So let's not do that. So that's number one. Remember that the natural state of your body is ease, right? That's why we say this ease. When the body is not at ease, that's when it shows up. Okay, so one of the things I want to share is that's why I do somatic psychotherapy. It's a combination of body work and psychotherapy, because often talk therapy isn't enough. I love talk therapy, but sometimes without engaging the body is still reactive. And if you're just doing the body work is great, but the limitation is that the mind is always searching for a story. So it's not complete. So it makes sense. In my practice, somatic psychotherapy and spinal flow, I'm in Fairfield, California. If you're interested in consulting, if this is the right fit treatment for you, if you're looking for treatment, not just stress management, check the consult link below. Okay, so we talked about that. Number two is some signs that you know that your body is in fight or flight. Honestly, when I say body, I also mean mind and body. They're not really different. Number two, signs that you're stuck in a sympathetic. So you see this illustration, this kind of PDF. Parasympathetic is when you are at rest, okay? Rest and digest. This is when your body's doing what it's supposed to do, okay? When you're in sympathetic mode, there is something where you're strategizing. Sometimes the body does not feel safe. There's an emergency, you know. People in a war zone, their bodies are in sympathetic, right? And the body's doing its best so that the goal is that you stay alive, right? So if you there's famine, that your digestive system is going to slow down. Why? It's amazing because there's not a lot of food. So if you're digesting as normal, okay, you're in parasympathetic, you're going to be craving, you're going to be hungry. Instead, when you're in sympathetic, let's say you're in a war zone, it's going to slow down. So you're not, your metabolism, if we're talking about the metabolism, is going to be very slow. But that's because the body knows that, hey, alert, alert, there's a threat, right? And the goal is that you stay alive. Okay. So when you are in sympathetic, fight or flight, so here are some signs that you are in a sympathetic, okay? When you're trying to strategize, even when you're at rest, okay? This is what happens when you're overwhelmed, you're stressed. Now people are trying to say, just calm down, and it's not working for you. First, what happens is you might feel bored and you don't know what to do with yourself because now your body is so used to like over functioning, okay? And if you're trying to rest, this whole coping tools, you might feel more anxious because your body has been, the baseline is here, like, the stress level. So if you're not doing something, the body can now register that as like unsafe. What's happening? Something bad is going to happen. Why is it so quiet, right? Especially if you have some history in childhood, of trauma, okay, or some type of imprint that can happen. One thing that can happen even when you are trying to rest, this is how you know that your body's in fight or flight, is you feel guilty when you're resting, as if you're doing something bad, okay? Because your body, just imagine if from far away you could see let's just imagine a tiger coming down and coming to get you, okay? Even this is just your perception. To not move is going to be, it's going to be weird, right? If you think that something is going out to get you or not moving. Now, this is the same, but except there's really no lion, but it's just your perception, okay? Because that's what imprints, doesn't have to be traumatic, imprints or trauma, that's what it does to your body. It thinks that the past is still in the present, and your body cannot distinguish the difference. So to sit down when something seems to be your perception, something bad is going to happen. The lion's coming. The lion is coming to get me. I mean, it's kind of odd not to move, isn't it? So, but that is what happens to your body. And then also these days, what I notice is that people are using their electronics, right? Their cell phone, the iPad, as pacifier. Like they have to pacify themselves. They can't just be with their bodies, right? So when we say we embody something, that means we're in our bodies, right? Another way is we dissociate, which just means that you're not in your body. You're blocking things. You're trying to escape, right? Sometimes those things can be useful. Like again, when I say in case if you're in a war zone, but in your daily life, that's probably not a useful thing to do on a regular basis. So we talk about that second point. How do you know you're stuck in a sympathetic overdrive, even when you're trying to rest? Why? Coping tools, even when you try them, they don't work, especially in the beginning, or especially when you have too much of them. The last part that we're going to talk about is because this is important. Your nervous system is shaped both by your experience and meaning. I always teach this in therapy. Meanings mean everything. So if two people are climbing up the mountain, they're doing the same thing, right? One is saying, "Oh my gosh, I hate climbing in the mountain. My feet hurt." Who cares about climbing the mountain? So imagine the meaning for the person as he's taking on this experience, right? So the meaning is like, this is hardship, this is suffering. Other person is climbing up, even though they're sweating. They're like, wow, this is good. I'm sweating. This is good for my body. Every time I move, I feel like I'm stronger. I can't wait to see the sight on top. Two people doing the same thing, but it depends. Your nervous system is shaped by both what you're doing and the meaning you put to that experience. So we could, if you're interested in that, drop a comment. I could talk about that a whole different presentation. If you, last part that we are going to talk about is why safety in your body is the foundation, not more coping tools, not being more busy. I think that is what we have been doing, especially in the West or in America, where our children are so busy. We fill their schedule. We feel bad when their schedule, there's some holes in their schedule. Children need to be bored. Out of boredom is creativity. The body needs rest, right? You could just look at nature, and nature needs winter time, depending on what part of the world you are, but the winter time allows the trees, the plants to almost like kind of shed and rest, so that during spring they just blossom, and our bodies are very similar. So safety is the foundation. What you need, you could do so many self-care, more coping tools, and then you will just be more overwhelmed. Then you feel more guilty and you feel bad. Why is this not working for me? Probably there's something wrong with me. And I'm here to tell you there's nothing wrong with you. What you need is to have a holistic way of looking at healing, be able to see the root of what is causing your body to react in a certain way. So remember that your body communicates through emotions, feelings, and sensations. So even your physical symptoms are the way that your body communicates. There's a monthly Zoom session that I do, and it's free. I'll put the link. Come join. Again, thank you for listening. This is Roanne Diaz Samuels. My clinic is called somatic psychotherapy and spinal. So the point is, why only do talk therapy and then your body remains reactive? Why just do somatic or body work and your mind is more confused? Let's do it both. If you are interested in this type of service and if you're a good candidate, let me know by let the link so that you could book a consult. And